We're back. Thank you so much to BetterHelp. Go check them out. There will be a link in the motherfucking description. Kamar, name and a number.
1842, Andy Huberman. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm
I
sorry.
did the discussion.
I didn't know what I was supposed to say to that. Yes, you are correct, Kamar. That is, I believe. I mean, I didn't know about the number. I assume you're right there.
He started out talking about ADHD, which is a weird thing that we've witnessed. Maybe you're just young enough, but it didn't exist.
I feel like I suffer from it heavily.
Oh no!
I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yes. You're saying it wasn't a thing until I was a kid.
Me in school, I was in a special class, and I probably had it, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't diagnosed.
Termed that way, and now it's a huge thing.
But keep in mind, Kamar, what I'm saying is, I grew up and I was never diagnosed with it. No one ever was like, this kid might have it. But every time this guy's on and describes it, I'm like, fuck.
And then you may have lucked out because he also talked about all the pharmaceuticals that kids take now and stuff, and whether it's effective or not.
But I'm just wondering if now, as an adult, if I wouldn't benefit from you should a controlled small dose of Ritalin or something. Because like he said, things I enjoy, I have no trouble concentrating deeply on. But if I don't enjoy it, oh my God, my mind is absolutely elsewhere. What's the line of this game? Who's going to, I just don't fucking care.
But I mean, he says it in this that marijuana or cannabis can be used to focus, but it's like a timing thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you do it and you're doing the wrong thing, you get
all frazzled.
Focus on the one thing you're not supposed to be doing and the thing you want to focus on you don't care about. So it's got to be really targeted.
When you think about school, though,
yeah,
it was horrible. Of course, I didn't want to focus. Or couldn't focus because the shit was so fucking boring.
But there are people who could.
But wait a second. Yes, there are absolutely people who could. But if they had made school more interesting, instead of talking about, I don't know, fucking whatever shit that we talked about in history class, we had talked about ancient Egypt instead. You know what I mean? Which is still history, but way more interesting. The smart people wouldn't. They still get a great education. It just keeps everybody else also, what's the word?
First of all, the smart people,
intrigued.
School was so dumbed down for them. I always remember the smart people that were in my class, the really smart people. Yeah, they were just miles ahead and just it was almost like
so
you
then
felt bad
everyone
for them.
Was bored.
This is my point. Yes.
The dumb people were bored.
I think I remember people asking for extra work.
Oh, I always was like, can someone stand up and slap the piss out of this
Why
kid?
don't you do my work first before you take on someone else's work?
I'm like, you want to do extra work, yet you're hiding your paper from me, you piece of garbage.
But there's conspiracy theories that the school system, the whole curriculum is designed to make us mindless drones and to be cogs in the wheels of society.
Yeah, it's the Rockefeller system.
Something like that.
But again, to say that, listen, I went to Hopewell, we had shop. I was in the last... I was the last grade to have it, but we had...
But it wasn't... It was...
You went to Hopewell, didn't you? No.
Yeah.
It was almost like a lesser program than all the other... it should have been on par with science or math or whatever.
I agree, but I'm saying we were on the ass end of, they used to teach stuff.
Of course. I mean...
home ec.
How many... If they had a carpentry...
Yeah.
Class...
A mechanic class.
Plumbing, whatever.
Because, listen, everyone...
Imagine if you could fix your car.
Dude, when you had gym, you were amped. Shop and gym, I was sick. I remember I had I think grade 8, I had gym, shop, and then English. And it was a fucking, every Thursday was just a breeze.
And we all struggled in school and concentrating and stuff. And we were all running around.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what happened that I had so much energy up until 25. Well, obviously you just break down, but
Come on, think about this.
I was never tired. Ever.
You would literally, you'd be in class from 9 to noon, and then you'd play a full, half a baseball game instead of eating lunch.
Soccer,
yeah. And then you just go back to class. And then after school, you were like, what sport are we going to play now? Handball? It didn't matter. Yeah, where is that energy?
Energizer bunnies.
That was before computers existed,
Yeah, I guess.
Or before video games were so because that started happening, then instead of some days you'd play sports, but you'd also... Some days you'd go in and play 4-player fucking
I would have to thank my parents because then
James Bond there, you know what I mean, or whatever. And then more and more that just
they didn't get me video games till I was 16. I got a Nintendo, but kids had Ataris and ColecoVisions when I was 8.
Yeah,
It
by the time high
kids.
school came around,
No,
we were already like,
Yeah, like James Bond was big in grade 9 for
still
me.
just fucking raring to go.
But even then, I remember like we would skate all fucking day, and then at night it was like, okay, let's retire to someone's house for some Tony Hawk or GoldenEye or something. Yeah, but we're probably the last generation of that.
But all this to say, he was saying ADHD, fetishes, all these things can be located in the brain, anger. And I was wondering, is it because the problem is getting brains to study on? What about death row inmates?
You want to take their brains?
Well, their brains are probably so fucked up because they're on death row to begin
I think
with.
they just need brains to learn more.
I think they have enough brains. I just think it's something that we're not.
But they want to work on a brain while someone's alive.
I'm sure China's doing that.
Well, we should be work with them. He talked about the guy who had
the answer we wanted.
No short-term memory, where you could come in and tell him the joke, and he'd not laugh as much, but he'd still not know he knew it.
Well, it's like 40 First Dates there, that movie?
Yeah.
The end of the day, she forgets everything, and then you start again the next day.
But that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Elon, but...
You're not saying Elon?
No.
Maybe Elon could help those people with his
That's what I'm saying, but I don't want to bring it up. It's all these things are like neurons, just the way he described, like we're so close to having a big understanding and still not knowing anything. He says
the problem is, and that consciousness, whatever that is in humans, it's like that's part of the brain, so they're never going to be able to figure it out. It's like
not anytime soon.
A mystery that we're not meant. Maybe Matt's right. It's like that's the Matrix code, And we're
the whole
just
thing
not,
comes tumbling down.
We are not meant to figure that out. No, it never comes tumbling down because we are just not. It's not that we can't figure it out. It's that we literally cannot figure it out. It is not part of the program. So no matter how hard we try.
I mean, it's weird. If you look at the central nervous system, we look like an alien that's just been like plopped into this skin sack.
It looks like a universe.
I mean, it's just the eyes and the spine. You know what I mean? It's all just like a weird, I don't know. We kind of look like not an octopus.
And we are so different than all the other apes. Like that really is true. It really feels like we found like a magic mushroom that, humans ate that just propelled us where everybody else didn't get that.
But they would still have crazy nervous systems. I mean, just with a lot less capacity.
But I imagine that they could recreate an ape brain.
It's just really crazy that we saw. It's just crazy that we saw everything in nature, and we were like, we can do that better. Like we saw a bird fly, and we were like, pussy.
It just takes time.
You know what I mean, like everything that we've seen nature do.
Yeah,
like,
that is
we
cool.
got this.
Eh? That is
we got
something.
this.
That's why we're so cocky. That's why we can save the planet.
It's probably to our detriment.
Probably,
We probably weren't supposed to do that, but the fact that we've been able to do that is something else. That is interesting. Like we see a bird fly, and we say.
Like think about the first bird. Think about
that.
the birds watching the Wright brothers. Like, look at these fucking idiots. You know what I mean? And then word starts traveling. They're like, no, they're getting this. They're really up there.
That is interesting, right?
I guess the ocean would be one thing where maybe we're slightly less.
Well, we still built submarines. We saw whales diving.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Said,
we go deep.
We can do this.
Yeah.
Hold my beer, whale.
Yeah. I'm just saying maybe not to like the...
But we can't. We can't go where the sperm whales go, where the giant squid go.
Yeah, but the point is we're not done yet.
No, we just have no interest in doing that for some reason.
Well, either way, that's a whole other topic. My point is it's interesting that literally we saw everything. And we're like, yeah. Hold my beer.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting.
Even a submarine?
It is very interesting.
Like even nature's best hunters, we were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we'll just build a better gun.
Yeah.
We go big though.
We'll kill you from far away, bitch.
Huh?
Well, the fish just one at a time, but we'll just make a giant net with a giant boat.
Well, I mean, most things came out of necessity. It wasn't out of right. It was we can't get too close to that giant bear because it will eat us alive. So we have to figure out a way to kill it from a distance.
I didn't see the video. Did those guys? Did they see the bear when they hit that drive? Like, did they know the bear was there?
I don't know, but that has happened to me before. We were playing in Petawawa, and there were two bears right off the green, and my father-in-law, I was like, what are we supposed to do here? He's just like, we're going to play through. And we just played the hole and made sure not to take our eyes off those bears, and then we kept on moving.
I was going to bring it up at some point.
Do you guys miss golf?
I wish I could play golf. Yeah,
I can golf.
he can. He just never does.
Yeah, okay.
That actually really bothers me. He could do it, and he never does.
How often, if you could right now, how often do you think you'd be golfing?
I'd go once a week at least, but it would be more than that if I could. I used to golf 3 times a week.
I'd golf once a week.
I was
if you could.
Well, the only people I know,
because the
key is you have to have a foursome or at least a threesome.
Like if I golfed, he would golf more.
Always.
Because I'm a ride for Kamar.
I get it. You don't want that random.
So I know someone who golfs and they're picking up one more every Monday. So that's when I would go. I probably wouldn't golf every Monday, but I would if I could.
Yeah, I wish. Maybe I'll just do it anyways.
Yeah.
Just fuck myself up more.
They made some weird joke about Lex and girls.
Yeah.
Like Lex must be. I want to know: is he super awkward around women, or is he like?
Here's my assumption.
Like, is he just he's fucking a lot of girls, and just,
or does he have a really
committed?
high standard? You know?
Yeah. Yes.
No,
yes.
what I assume it is like he is the hopeless romantic that he claims to be. And that doesn't really come off well to women.
But
like,
does he date?
I think in his mind, he's like, every woman is looking for a gentleman, a nice guy who can read them poetry. And he's probably at a bar trying to read fucking Dostoevsky to some girl. And she's like, bro, this ain't it.
I feel like he's a virgin. Like the way he was talking about, I shouldn't have said anything. Like I should have done that. Just
there's no fucking way he's a virgin.
I don't know. He's pretty dialed in. Speaking of dialed,
I mean,
there's no way at this point. There's no way at this point rolling in Joe Rogan's. Like he spent a weekend in Vegas with Joe. There's no way someone didn't suck his dick. Impossible.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a virgin.
I think
I am.
No, maybe he is one. I'm being serious here.
Unicorn?
Maybe he's like a guy who doesn't want to do that before marriage.
Yeah.
He wants to save it for the women
I
he's
feel
going to
like
be
he
with.
might be
like
that
he's
guy.
literally a hopeless romantic. And until he finds that girl who he's going to settle down with, there's no
if he
there's
said
no
that,
BJs.
Here's where I come in. If he is that guy, once he does get laid, he's just gonna fall apart. Just come undone, long hair.
He's gonna be snorting. He's gonna be snorting coke. He's gonna be creating fuck dolls instead of fucking automated vehicles.
You should really get that out of the way. While
Who's that comedian there with the long hair beret? What's his name?
Gallagher.
No, shot at the sign. Joe talks.
Sam Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
It just becomes like a Sam Kinison. What were you gonna say before that though?
He said, "Speaking of dialed in."
No, you.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm sure it couldn't have been good.
He said, if you get
funny.
around 7 to 8 hours sleep, when you wake up from 1 to 9 hours, you're the most dialed in. Whatever that is, where you sleep in, and then from 10 to 7, you're the most creative. So try to.
How much sleep do you go to? When do you go to bed at night usually?
If I go to bed,
when you're not pissing on people's garbage cans.
If I go to bed at 11, I get up at 6.
11 and 6, and you?
How many hours a night do I sleep?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god, 15.
15?
No, not 15. But I'm not joking when I tell you, like, if the normal person requires 8, I need 10. I can sleep 8.
And you could sleep 15 any given day?
No, any given day I could sleep 12 hours. No problem.
Oh my god, I wish.
Oh no, I hate it. It ruins your life.
Oh yeah, that seems like too long actually. That's too long.
Like when I hear about people like Donald Trump being able to sleep 4 hours a night, I'm jealous to a point that I cannot describe.
Well, when they talk about people who require less sleep, I'm positive I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you. Like I wish
You're
in my
4 hours.
No. But like between 5 and 6 is my normal. Like never 7, maybe 8, 9 is crazy.
I don't know how to sleep.
But even as a kid, like on Saturday mornings, normal kid gets up at 8 o'clock, 7 to watch cartoons. I was up at 5.
I differ from you there, but I think when I was young, I was out late a lot, but I could sleep till 1.
No, when you were watching cartoons, you were out late enough that
I think I started sleeping around 11 or 12.
I will say this though, I've always had insane staying power. Like for my 20s, I could stay up 3 days, no problem.
And be as functional as day one?
No, of course not. No one's as. I'm just saying though.
Awake.
I could, where people were doing coke and being up for 2 days.
Oh, you were so right.
I was just smoking weed, sitting beside them. Like, okay, well,
you can smoke weed and not fall asleep at some point.
Yeah,
must have been also
not anymore.
That's
I said I
crazy.
could in my 20s. We're
when the
well
energy
past
was
that.
just
just flowing.
Weed
endless.
has always put me to sleep.
No. Like I had a buddy that sold a ton of coke, and he used to constantly call me to come over because he was like, I can just give him like an eighth of weed, which is nothing. Because most people were trying to like get blow off him. You know what I mean? That's more expensive. Where he was like, I can give this guy an eighth of weed, and he's going to be up with me for like till noon tomorrow, no problem.
loved it.
Yeah.
Ride or die. That's a real co-pilot. Feelings are an experience, not you. He said that, which I thought was really interesting. That when you feel something, it's based on a trauma or whatever happened. So that, and that's what they say, like, feel a feeling, see a feeling, let the feeling go. I don't know if everyone can wrap their head around that. Because some people really think they are their feelings.
I am not betrayal and disappointment.
There you go. Exactly.
That is just the feeling I am feeling.
Exactly.
And just let
Because
that
your
go.
mom put it out there that was going to happen.
Betrayal and disappointment.
He goes, he's talking about microdose and macrodose. And I thought he was going to say something like 7 grams. And he goes, like 1 would be macro. So
Yeah, not for us.
That's interesting. But they're saying it's the way to go. Like to if you want to exercise your brain in the same lazy way people would take steroids or something. If you're going to cut a corner, it's mushrooms is really the way to go.
This is a weird thing because I feel like Simon is a good example of someone that I would expect to, at this point, just microdose all the time on mushrooms. But you seem very
I should microdose.
I
all
think
the
you
time,
should,
yeah.
Simon.
like anytime I
really
offer
think
you
should.
one single gummy, which is a 0.1, you look at it like I'm giving you MDMA
Yeah.
or some sort of illicit. Like you really give me that look of like, I can't believe you're trying to push some sort of narcotic on
I
me.
definitely shouldn't support shroomies in any way, shape, or form, which I will not do.
What are
But in
shroomies?
an alternate reality, I might buy something there. It's that mushroom store.
No, I'm not saying
won't
from the
support
store. I'm
them.
just saying like if
I really think you should do mushrooms. I did them like 3 times this week. Microdose though, not a lot, and it feels better. And you are not going to do, if you do up to a gram, you're not going to freak out. You're not going to be anything where you're
forget the
out of
gram.
control.
If you just start your day with a 0.2,
a little stem.
2 gummy mushrooms, forget the
that.
stem.
That's how I would do it. I would do the little,
The
so I
mushroom
know
gummies,
how
yeah.
much each one is.
Perfect, yeah,
I
I'm
don't
telling
need
you.
a-
If you start your day
Just
that
pop
way,
a couple of caps.
every day is just slightly more tolerable. It's like a nice. It's like adding salt to a dish. Very simple, but yet very effective.
So he just fires off self-help, sort of self-improvement,
Yeah.
data related. Like it's he seems like a really legit guy, way more credible than say a Mike Baker.
Someone asked me, one of the listeners asked me about my anxiety, and I was like, listen, I don't have a grasp on it. I don't have like, I know when it's coming, and I know how to somewhat deal with it, but I was like, you should listen to this guy's podcast because he has a bunch of episodes about like anxiety and how to deal with it and stuff. So if anyone's dealing with anxiety,
He's
Sorry,
just
Kamar,
so cocksure. I don't like.
We're talking about Huberman.
Yeah. Although it will apply in the next one. But like he's right. He's a good guy. I just don't like him. Like I don't know what to say. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. If I met him, I would like him.
What don't you like?
I
about
don't
him?
know.
Well, let's break it down. Something
'cause
about
he's
him
so
rubs you the
cocksure. That's
wrong
what
way.
Kamar doesn't like.
He's so aggressive.
He's handsome.
but hold on.
He's a cool
he's-
scientist.
he's
That's
a
what it is.
cool, He's
That's what it
handsome
is.
and he's
Yeah,
smart.
he's
and
everything.
you don't like
He's
when people
everything.
oh yeah,
are,
that's right.
He's everything
That's
I
right.
am not.
Yes.
A
This is coming
twofer.
together now,
A
and he's
twofer.
somewhat brown.
But he said, you should be concentrating on the contraction where you're lifting weight. It's not the weight. Like you should mentally be thinking what you're.
You're just talking
What you
Greek
working.
to me now.
Well, he was just saying, like, focus on Good exercise. He's just going through stuff he knows. It's not like one specific thing. I mean, at the end of the day, they come and say, be physically active. That's good for your brain. It's like he said, the punk who said the other way, running is telling your brain who's the boss or something like that. It has to be tamed in. But I think mushrooms is the easiest way of all these things to.
So Joe goes hard in the paint on the Liver King all the time.
Liver King is a Liver King beef.
I thought it was just like one time he had said something, but no, every chance he gets, he calls out the Liver King.
And I think the Liver King sort of calls out Joe. And not
well, what can the Liver King possibly say about Joe?
He says Joe
takes TRT. Joe admits to it.
He says he doesn't do steroids, and that's what they said. He says he doesn't, and so now he's trapped in that world of a lie.
But he is like, will he take a lie detector test and stuff?
He says he'll go on Joe Rogan.
He'll go. Well, of course he would want to go on Joe Rogan.
But go on Joe Rogan and what? Say I don't do TRT.
But that might be bad for him if he went on there and Joe made him admit he was on.
But that would be good for everyone if he's telling people that the more liver you eat, the stronger your liver will be, the more kidney, the stronger your kidney will be. But he's just actually.
Well, I mean that's not proven, but that also doesn't seem like a. I mean, it's not bad to eat liver and to eat organs. So
100%.
Who cares why it's happening, right?
100%.
I don't know. It just seems like what's Joe's problem with this guy? That just the fact that he claimed that he wasn't on steroids, and Joe is convinced he is on steroids.
And Joe is proudly able to admit that he's on steroids.
And the idea of eating a brain to make your brain better has no scientific value behind it.
I also found it funny that Joe was talking.
Joe's problem.
Joe was talking about being married to your ideas and getting super angry when someone presents the opposite side of it. And I was like, Joe, this is you. I know you're I mean, we all do it. We're all guilty of it. But
oh, I'm totally guilty.
Yeah, I am too. I'm not sitting here saying I'm better than Joe. I'm just saying Joe acts like he doesn't do that, and he's very guilty of that. There's hundreds of episodes.
But I'm sure there are things that he used to argue the same way I used to say chiropractic is a fucking joke. I'm not positive anymore. You know what I mean? I might have fallen into the exact trap I was.
It was interesting when they got into that. Huberman said he knew in the NBA players can take a certain amount of steroids if they're injured to recover. And Joe's like, "What? They take that much? I don't even take a penny of that."
Yeah,
wow.
they're a professional athlete, and he's an old man trying to stay young.
I just thought he was trying to say, wow, some people are really into this thing. But
no, I think he was kind of doing that. Joe gets a little lost sometimes. Listen, he's only human. He's only human.
Do whatever he wants.
They have a 15-man roster. Of course, they're going to be juicing and injuries. Are you nuts?
And they're playing a sport every second day and practicing it. Joe does a lot of working out, but he's just
nowhere near professional.
Yeah, he's not a professional anymore. At one time, he was a professional a long time ago.
Maximize your exposure to sunlight, he said. The more sunlight you can get, the better.
That's why we're miserable.
But I was just talking to Matt, today, let's say.
Yeah.
I can't sit outside for more than 10 minutes.
But I think even sitting in the shade is in the sunlight.
Oh, you see, that's cool. I like that.
I really think
just be outside. That's the message. Are you sure about that?
The good hack is
you're getting refracted light.
Well, this is radiation.
The good hack is those overcast days.
Yeah, but because it's still coming through.
That's what I'm saying. You're still getting those UV rays. You're still getting all the goodness.
There just is none at night. So night owls. That's why they look sickly.
Golf used to force me to be in the sun.
4 hours, 5 hours. Yeah.
Oh, you looked Jewy. You looked like you were right out of Israel.
Like I had just been wandering in the desert.
Yeah, you used to look.
You gotta do mushrooms and start golfing again. That's what we learned so far. Do not eat pasta
mushrooms
bread.
and golf. Maybe I should do them both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pasta and bread.
I'm telling you, I think
just
we should
not feel the pain.
I think to start, Simon, we should just get out there and, like I said, I'll hit the drives and you work the short game.
Pasta. Yeah, you guys can play shotgun. Best ball.
Do you know how to drive?
No, but this is how I'm going to learn.
Yeah. We're going to get back on the golf course.
No, right? Doesn't that make sense? I can learn how to drive, and then you can still get your shoulder maybe. Because like Joe says, if you work that shoulder, it might work it back to...
chip from 30, maybe.
Well, that's all we need you to do. I'll be hitting the rest. I'll get you 7 shots to that 30. And from there, you can work the rest.
Wait about 90 minutes for taking caffeine to get the best out of it without a crash.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it too long, there's an endocrine system that hasn't fully released.
I just don't know if I buy that.
But this is the guy. This is his
No, I know.
area of expertise.
But he also says like everyone is different. You know, like I knew a lot. I don't know.
Some
But
people process
you don't even drink
caffeine a
or
certain
do you?
way.
You have a
and-
Coke every day or a cup of coffee or tea.
A tea. I have a lot of tea, which I find is the most caffeine.
Well,
just-
it depends how much you steep it.
It's the same way with processing alcohol. Like everybody knows a couple of people who could just drink 25 beers, you know what I mean? And be like totally coherent.
Well, it's so funny when he was talking about
You don't, Kamar? I know a bunch of guys. Like I can name you a bunch off the top of my head who drank like Shane Gillis.
I'm telling you, for
Light
the first
beer? Yes.
first 5 years of my drinking, that was me. No hangover. Woke up the next day right as rain. Could drink a ton and still be like. I mean, people were like, "Yeah, he's drunk."
But did you ever drink light beer?
No, I only drank hard
See,
alcohol.
light beer is another level.
I used to drink like Lucky Lager. You know Lucky Lager?
I think that might be 5%.
It is.
Yeah, well,
But it's like a light.
Canadian
It's not
light.
a
That's
heavy.
Canadian light.
I'm just saying it's not a heavy beer. I used to drink like 12 beer in a night, no problem, no hangover, no nothing. Like,
The beers, I think in America, light beer is 3.5%.
yeah, that's
It's even lighter than
That's-
Yeah,
Canadian.
that's what I was saying. It's,
And that's why those guys can drink those, because I can drink a lot of Bud Lights.
No,
I will get drunk, but if I drink 6 beers, I'm like blotto, you know.
I remember we went snowboarding down in New Hampshire one year with like a buddy and his family, and they took a bunch of us down in their Winnebago thing. And we had brought like a bunch of weed down with us, but we ran out at one point. We had to drink Bud Light, and you could drink like a 2-4
Forever.
It was
You could
crazy.
drink forever.
Yeah. And you're
So
just pissing constantly.
It's an American thing because our beers are just stronger in general, not trying to brag, but it really makes Ari look bad.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got blackout blotto on light beer.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
could you
crazy.
imagine? I'd have to drink 60 beers to be like that.
Kamar, at the end of our shift at Ritual, like we would drink a 40 of tequila between like 4 of us.
Well, that's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story.
If I drink a 4 tequila with 4 people,
Yeah.
so 10 shots in like a half hour,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to jail.
like you get
can't
drunk
consume like
off
that.
hard liquor,
No, I get
You,
psychotic.
perfect.
Yes, yeah.
and it doesn't take that much either.
But not even drunk. Like I go insane.
Oh yeah, dick in hand, staring me right in the face,
well-
and then asking me.
Well, that's a positive because I was only drinking beer. No, I was drinking hard iced tea, I think.
Oh,
Anyways,
that'll do it.
Long Island iced teas. Those are.
don't eat pasta and bread. These are bad for inflammation in the brain.
Here we go with the
If you,
inflammation.
can, if you can avoid it, he just is not. We're not. We have a direction with Andrew Huberman. We're just bouncing stuff off, and he says, "I have the study or I don't have the study." I thought it was interesting when he said the peer review, and you have to do your thing, and so you come to defend your scientific thing, and then they have to ask you questions, and it's like almost an interrogation, and you sort of pass when you finally say, "I don't know," and then they say that's the scientific process. But to have those, and maybe it's so personal to have those shown. Like I think it's an interview format.
Yeah, I think the problem is we, the general public, can't interpret the data properly.
It's Chinese anyways.
Yeah, it really like it's like when Joe was, during COVID, when Joe was talking about like the VARS tests or the VAERS tests or whatever. Like I started trying to read some of those papers to better understand what Joe was talking about. No fucking way. Like just so many miles above my head, and that's fine. Like because they're
But he said they will even ask you questions nothing to do.
What did you have for breakfast that day, Andrew?
The way he described it, it seemed like it might be interesting and entertaining.
Yeah.
But maybe it's for the person being interviewed not to be like so on blast because it's a high pressure situation. He gave a reason not to smoke seeds.
Yeah,
Like it was like hurts your system. But just don't smoke seeds.
yeah.
Anyone
If
who's
your joints popping, yeah, get that shit out of there.
that's hilarious.
But I mean, how often? Like, listen, maybe we were blessed, but like, I hardly ever remember getting weed with seeds in it.
I think because you're just young enough. There was a long time when
Like
it was
Jamaican press and fucking
Jamaican press
Mexican
and
dirt. Yeah,
weed was running rampant.
Yeah.
Or somebody's brother who didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, was
who
growing
gave it to a
some
little
shit.
brother
Yeah,
who
yeah.
all of a sudden got in the game. And I mean, I could remember seeds. Not like 1 or 2, like 60 seeds in like 3 grams or something.
Like, I remember the first time when I was like in grade 9 where someone was like, I have a pound of weed. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And they pulled out a brick of Jamaican press. And I was like, I'm not smoking any of that. Like, I refuse. I was like, I was amped on your pound. And then I saw it.
Because it was that big.
It looked like hay.
Well,
like, it was fucking terrible.
I'll tell you, I'm ashamed to say it, we used to celebrate, smoke. That'd be the big Friday night.
Yeah, of
Someone
course,
got some Jamaican dirt weed. I think like maybe when I was 16, I started seeing like real buds and like
if I'm being
exciting about it.
If I'm being totally honest, and it could just be like that I was young, and of course you get higher when you're not a fucking retard smoker like I am. Mm-hmm. But it just felt like from like in high school, it felt like that's when we got the best weed. I don't know why.
No, you're getting the best weed now.
You're probably right. I'm just saying
I think I'm right.
I also felt like we were spoiled in the glebe. Like we just had really good connections.
But you spent. I was saying he gave a reason why you shouldn't smoke seeds in your joints.
Yeah.
But it's like because it's fucking lame.
Yeah.
That was an old wives' tale though.
Yeah, that you'll be sterile. Yeah, what a weird one.
Yeah, but you don't want to smoke seeds because
I thought he said it does make you sterile.
they snap
Or
or crackle pop.
if-
No,
affect
he said
something.
that was an old wives' tale.
That I didn't listen properly. But yeah, you just don't want to smoke seeds at all.
No, we did have good connects in the glebe.
But when you were
just-
young,
That's what I was
we just
saying. We
did.
just
you
No,
got
didn't smoke
lucky.
Mexican dirt weed.
We did.
There was a
shit-
time when you accepted stuff.
Listen,
That's all
there
I'm
was
saying.
all
That's all I'm
sorts
saying.
of different connects, but there are 2 main ones for the glebe that we know
they
were
got
really
really
good.
good
They
weed,
got
yeah.
good weed.
Eventually, they got good. When I was young, it was all shit.
Also, Simon, do you remember the summer
okay,
drought?
sure, eventually.
Remember the summer drought?
Yeah,
That was always a nightmare.
a nightmare.
From like
So
May,
weird.
from like May till September, to like from May till the first week of September, it was impossible.
I love how you asked me, do you remember? My whole life used to revolve
As little
around
kids,
getting weed.
suffering
I would
through
wake
it.
up in the
Mine
morning,
too.
see where I was at, where I had to
Yeah.
be to, keep levels at a proper place.
And it's conceivable it was all out there. You just didn't have the connects yet.
I think I owe my stepdad like $20,000 from his change jar. I'm not even joking.
He's gonna come and collect.
well, I've told you the silver dollar story.
Oh
before.
yeah.
for
Like,
shame,
I
betrayal, and
cussed my dad.
disappointment.
That's my dad. He told me in his 40s, betrayal and disappointment.
There was a baby born, and the guy was taking clear rub or whatever.
Well, we talked about this last week. Yeah.
And he's born with the baby's
the
born with
biggest
It's
penis,
a
yeah.
hilarious story.
Did we talk about it last
yeah,
week?
but
Yeah,
it's
he's-
so
yeah.
I
funny.
didn't listen.
It's
It's
so funny. It's worth
massive
talking about
erections,
again
pubic hair.
because it's so funny.
It's like one of those unfortunate. It's like the woman that comes every 2 minutes, or the woman that was British and then woke up, like had a head injury and woke up Chinese. Like they're unfortunate, but they're hilarious.
This one's different though because it has a cause. You know? what I
Yeah. We
mean?
know exactly. Yeah.
Like the waking up Chinese or whatever. It's just it's hilarious, but you don't know why.
yes, it is.
This is like we know exactly. We can see what happened. That makes it even funnier.
I mean, it would be sad if the kid grew up with like an uncomfortably large hog. You know what I mean? All because like
Or he's a porn star and just a hero. This
I
story.
love that Kamar,
probably not
porn
gonna
star
go
hero.
well for this kid because just probably
Yeah.
going through puberty that early is not good for you.
That's what more I thought. Like this story is still developing. We
I mean,
are
again-
we
in the
should
early
wait.
stages
We
of
could
what's
be
going on.
pulling what's his name, the French guy who got sued.
Whatever. Oh, Mike Ward.
We could be pulling a Mike Ward and not even know it yet.
Or this kid ends up being the next like Bo Jackson, and he wins a
Why,
fucking.
is this making fun of someone in public?
No, we're making fun of someone in private, and then we're going to release it publicly.
So it is.
I think it falls under a new
That's
domain.
what- Maybe we will. Maybe we will.
Matt thinks he's found a gray
Yeah,
area.
I found a nice loophole
I
here.
don't think the courts agree.
It was said in private.
I wonder because Joe was talking about his marvelous ability to retain. He's like, I just have this, but does he have a? Is it?
Yes, he
uncanny?
does.
He has a very good
Yeah, it is.
memory.
It
I
is.
wouldn't be surprised if it was like bordering on
Do you know what
photographic.
Do you know what I think it has to actually do with? Is that he didn't start smoking weed until he was like 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that has a huge effect.
Interesting.
Because now he's a stoner and you think there's no way, and sometimes he forgets or he repeats himself, but that's a different thing.
Because you know how
He's
they're
also old, though, right? I think
information.
he is. Listen, I've said it before. I think he's incredible at retaining
they're
information.
always talking about your brain developing until 25.
That's what I'm saying, and his
and
fully
those were
developed.
my prime years of
Oh my God, I smoked
damaging
my ass
brain.
off. Yeah,
So.
fucking idiot. My brain
Not
is
only
mush.
weed, though, other drugs too. Like Joe didn't do any drugs until
No.
30.
No.
He was a clean boy until 30. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do
I mean,
you-
I didn't do other drugs. I only did some
Do
mushrooms.
you
when I
think
was
you would listen to podcasts when you're like 16? If they
I'll tell you.
existed?
I'll tell you why I wouldn't. I think the reason that we listen to podcasts, and like Joe said it, is just because they stop making music for you. I'm not saying you can't still enjoy music. I still love music. I split my time with music and podcasts. But when I was 20, there was 50 new songs a week that I was interested in or that I could throw on a mixtape. So I was just like so deep into music that I doubt I would have found time.
But maybe it was because the access was so limited. It seemed like there was a lot of music.
I definitely would have listened to podcasts. There's no doubt about it.
But did you listen to Stern or Opie and Anthony, or was no access? Because those are sort of the first podcasts.
No,
Well, you
but
make a good point. I did listen to those. Sorry, go ahead.
those are general.
Radio shows.
They're general about everything shows. Now you can listen to a podcast about Bigfoot. You can if you could pick. I'm saying, you know, that's why Stern is. Yeah, it is technically the first podcast, but it was just a variety show, kind of like Rogan is.
Because they do it so effortlessly, the solo podcast is pretty intense.
Listen, I have all the gear sitting here.
Have you tried it?
I will tell you it is impossible.
It's not impossible.
First of all, you have to somewhat like yourself. I think that's a prerequisite to doing it.
No, you have to start and finish. My roommate, he has notes. So he sometimes he rushes through it or whatever, but you gotta I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this. I don't know where any of those are going to expand to, but you have to have some sort of framework. I don't know if those guys do.
You
also
have
might.
to have a certain ego to do that. Is that what you were saying?
No, that's not what I was saying.
'Cause
Well,
that's what I believe.
Because there's no response.
You
You're
have
just-
to feel pretty good about people wanting to listen to you talk. Like, at least in this format, you can think to yourself, you know what I mean? Oh, they like him or him or him or whatever.
You're just talking into the distance.
And enough that people are going to want to hear what the fuck you're saying. Like, who the fuck are you?
I will tell you though, what was I gonna say? There's like a difference between I don't know, forget it. Who cares?
The solo podcast, I think it's a muscle and I think it can be developed. It's just to get that ball rolling.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, see, Bill Burr, his podcast is interesting because he doesn't edit it. So like he leaves all of like the long pauses in. Whereas like if you watch a YouTube video, like a Philip DeFranco, like he's just the first person on the
most
top.
egregious,
It's
yeah.
edited where like there are no pauses. And I mean, I'll even say like I did a reaction video the other day that YouTube denied. Fun. And at first I just left it as it was, which was like 15 minutes long. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try to actually edit this in like a YouTube manner. It's way more palatable.
I just realized as we're having the discussion who the best solo podcast ever was is Jim Rome. Because
But
Jim
he had
Rome,
guests.
It's a sports
he
show.
did, but majority, okay, he's got a topic to talk about, but he just talked. It would take super long pauses. They're like, is there a commercial coming? And then he'd come back.
I'll say
and
this.
I could not live without it.
I think of any topic, again, I just feel like an idiot. But if there was any topic in the world that I could probably sit here and do a solo podcast about, it would probably be sports. But I just feel like a fucking idiot.
I'm surprised you said that. I would have guessed music if you'd asked me.
I think again, I feel like such an idiot in that department too. That and old because like at this point,
Your feelings are not you.
sure. But like, here's a good one. Like reaction to music. Like I can't do any of that because I've heard most of it. You know what I mean? Like, remember that black guy showed you listening to Ram Jam?
Ram Jam. Yeah.
Whoa, Black Betty.
His
Ram
first
Lam-
time ever.
This is what I'm saying is like, you know, we don't have that because we've listened to all that.
I've imagined you listening to a song and just associating with a time and a period, and just a memory or something like that.
I did that and it was garbage.
No, of course it's gonna be garbage. That I'm not surprised about.
Okay,
but but it's not like that. With anything you do, it starts out garbage. I mean, anyone says this. I was gonna mention it in the post show, but everyone should watch the Mark Cuban on the Nelk It doesn't matter if you don't like the Nelk, but he's an interesting guy because he made his billion like at 27.
Yeah, he was young.
And is like the godfather of streaming on the internet and talks about failures and is hands-on and is super interesting. So, of course, your first one's going to suck, but I'd say you have to at least do 5. And if you did 5 and none of them felt anything, then you could write it off. But there's no such thing as doing one thing and being like, yep, that's it. Cold fighting depression. Of course, like you're just happy to not be freezing. It's always going to fight depression.
Yeah, but yes, because when he said that, I was like, that does make sense. But then I thought about it. I was like, in the winter is when I'm my worst.
Mm-hmm. That's when you got to do it.
No, but I'm saying is that's like I'm always cold in the winter and I don't feel any better.
No, then you got to get like ice bath cold.
Ugh.
I wonder if like for people who are really depressed, if there was like a therapy where you put them in danger, but then they didn't die.
Ooh, like remember that? What was that Michael Douglas movie?
Yes,
what was that Michael Douglas? Yes, The Game.
And the whole thing's simulated,
So, like,
and you get out of yourself.
Have you seen that movie?
And then you
Have you seen that movie?
appreciate life so much more. Yes, I have seen The Game.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack the brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Kamar, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game. Everyone's favorite game where Matt and Simon go head to head to see what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office this week. Matt saved my ass. Pulled out The Game, a classic one. Psychological thriller, I'd say.
I'm gonna have, sorry, real quick. I've listened to that jingle hundreds of times now, and it really just hit me there listening to it how fucking good it is.
It gets better every time I hear it.
Like there's background.
It's better than our show.
It really is. Tyler should be fuck good on you, Tyler.
Just before I come back to The Game,
Yeah.
forever. Speaking of Ja Rule,
Ja Rule. Yeah.
Ja Rule, forever. I thought that song was, "Who Are You?" You know that, and he, RULE.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you know that part in the
You
song?
have to commit and do it. You can't just. It's like Ben Shapiro reading out wet ass pussy.
I can't
commit.
sing. RULE. You know that?
You almost did. If you do the RULE, is that what he said or something like that?
What the
No,
fuck?
she's singing it.
Ashanti is.
I thought it was J-Lo.
You're killing me, man.
What's your motherfucking name? You know that part?
I don't know what
Yeah.
J-Lo and
Forget
Ja
it.
Rule song you're referring to.
It is forgotten.
You don't know the Ja Rule and J-Lo song?
No. I'm sure if you properly sang it, it would come to me, but
I can't sing. I have no tone. I
can
no
tell, yeah.
beat.
this
At
is
least
why
I
your
try.
people put
I
up the
try.
money
Do you
for
know
the
the
music.
song, Kamar?
What you did, I do not know.
There's only one song with Ja Rule
Yeah.
Ja,
and
not
J-Lo.
Ja Rule.
And and J-Lo.
Ja Rule.
And J-Lo.
You French as fuck. Ja Rule.
No, we're dropping this. We're at the
You
break
guys are not helping.
for the
here,
post show.
just by the way.
We're gonna
No, it's actually you. We're trying to help. You
yeah.
are being the most
we're gonna figure out the
What's
song.
your motherfucking name?
That sounds like every
That
rap
sounds
song
like
I've ever heard.
DMX, not fucking
Up in
J-Lo
here?
or
Well,
like
Ja Rule and DMX have similar sort of vocal patterns.
Anyways,
Or
I thought
voices.
they were saying something different.
okay.
Doesn't matter. Go on with your. Oh, are
What-
you
you
even
gotta come out with
are
a
you
year.
even thinking of the right movie? Because The Game is where
Yeah, Michael Douglas believes that his life is being threatened.
Yeah.
And then he finds out at the end that it was just an expensive ruse.
Everyone's in on it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking The Push.
It is the push, isn't it?
And Tom was talking about his podcast how psychological thrillers is all about everything can be a placement. Like, oh, that's it. I hate it when that happens. This is not that case. This is a psychological thriller and it's done to the max. You should remember how crazy it is. Starring Michael Douglas, Sean Penn,
Sean Penn.
Deborah Kara Unger, James Redhorn, Peter Donat, Carol Baker, Armin Mueller-Stahl. Directed by David Fincher.
Ooh.
Didn't he do 7?
I think he did do 7, yes.
Can I have a piece of paper?
Yeah, I think I can.
Yes,
work that
he
out
did
for
do
you.
7. So David Fincher is a director we don't talk enough about. because all his movies are amazing.
He did Crash as well. Is that right?
No, that's David,
Oh yeah, that's somebody else.
the Canadian guy. What the fuck is his name? Cronenberg. Thank you.
But Fincher is a killer, man.
Have you seen an ad for Amsterdam?
What movie are we
The new
doing?
The Game with Michael Douglas. The new Christian Bale, Margot Robbie movie.
I have not.
Oof, looks like it's fucking De Niro's in it.
Oh,
Mike Myers is in it.
oh, that's interesting. If Mike Myers finally does something like, when John Candy does the serious roles, they just knock it out of the park.
He doesn't even look like himself in this. He's got looks like he's got a glass eye.
I don't think he looks like himself. Anyways, in real life.
A buddy of mine works at the Westin, and he sent me a photo of him and this like rotund-looking shaven white guy.
Bald?
And he's looking super amped. Like look at who this is in the photo. And I'm like, who the fuck? What am I looking at? And he got back to me a couple hours later because he was at work. He's like, dude, it's Mike Myers. And I was like, no, it's not.
Like, there's something up with people like that who can't be in shape.
I don't know. Simon, do you have a year?
2002.
Whoa, I have 96.
Matt, 1997.
You know what's funny? I was never going 97. At first I had 98, and then I was like, nope, too late. And I'd never even thought about going 97.
Can't second guess yourself. 97, yeah. This is, anyone listening, watch this movie. Even what we
Do you think it holds up?
I think it holds up. And I think
the premise is great.
We may have spoiled it. We
totally spoiled the film, by the way. Like
I just realized
it literally, we might as well have just said Kevin Spacey's Kaiser Soze, because
oh shit,
the movie is over.
I realize now that I might have
we totally ruined it.
Recommended it. I was like, everything's out of the bag.
100% cat's out of the bag.
Because what's in the box? He's the what's in the box.
It is
thriller guy.
We gave it up.
And by the way, it's the wife's head in a box. If we're just spoiling all the movies,
Triple threat spoiler. I gotta say too, I was thinking about it the other day. Seven.
Sorry.
Seven is like
everybody.
Seven is a seriously slept on film.
Why?
It's a fucking classic, is what it is.
What I'm saying though is,
I don't know anyone who doesn't think it's a classic.
I'm just saying though is, if you bring it up, people are like, yeah, it's a classic. But if you were to sit down with like 50 people and go, what are your top 10 movies from the 90s? Seven probably isn't going to come up, which I think is an absolute shame.
It should be,
because it's almost a horror movie, and no one ever goes.
No,
to horror
people just forget about it. If as soon as they remember it, it's in their top 20.
You're forgetting
and
too
David
that
Fincher slept on.
It came out in that era where like you didn't know Kevin. It wasn't advertised Kevin Spacey's in the. You know what I mean? Like nowadays movies, it's like, oh, there's like, you'll find out 2 years before, hey, Kevin Spacey's doing a movie.
It was more of an independent movie.
Well, it was just you didn't know the. I don't know. It was great. What a great movie, Simon. I have everything written down.
I
You
think
ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
I said it cost $32 million to make, and it made 187.
Wow, we are so off. I said 12.7 to make and 78.
Oh, that's very disappointing, guys. I don't think you realize how much stuff happened in this movie. It cost $70 million.
70? Oh my!
Kamar,
fuck.
I went 30 because I was like, a car crashes in the water. There's all sorts of like.
There's way more than just a car crash in the water.
But
it's so elaborate.
I thought in '96 I did a good amount of accounting up for that, but clearly I didn't.
I think
more than
also
double.
Michael Douglas may have been a $20 million man
you're-
at this time. He was a
Close, probably.
super.
I know he was super, but Jim
Coming
Carrey-
off Romancing the Stone and
Through the
stuff.
Nile.
How much did it make?
It only made $109.4 million.
So I was close
Wow.
on what I
You
was
were
very
spot
close.
on as far
78.
as I
yeah.
remember.
70.
Oh, you said 78.
No.
I thought you said
I'm
100. No,
I'm
you said
in- I
said
180.
187.
I'm in the
And I heard
ballpark.
108.
78.
Yeah,
like it didn't make
you're
a
within
lot
50
of money.
million. You're not. You're learning. You're getting better.
You just have no idea when anything comes out. Your
Anyone,
time is absolutely mangled.
listening, love the movie game, like and subscribe, and let us know a thriller that you think rocks. And I still don't think Simon has ruined Seven, unless you listen to it over and over again. You'll forget by that time.
No, you won't.
Okay, we'll see. That's the movie game. Thanks for listening.
All right, let's wrap up Huberman here.
What?
And,
Oh, really?
well, what do you mean?
Oh,
How much more do you
and
have?
Kamar, Rosebud. It's the name of the sled.
Wow, man.
I thought it was a teddy bear. No, it's the sled.
It's
Yeah.
the sled. Someone has to go a long way to get feel like they got fucked by you.
Simon spoiled an 80-year-old movie.
Nobody cares.
With the heat thing, there's cases of people who are victims of burns. It like gives them a reaction that they lose weight. They're constantly burning fat, even without exercising. Earbuds radiation.
They can now freeze your fat off.
I thought they said in this that didn't work and it fucks you up.
Oh, maybe it does fuck you up.
How to get information on a podcast. It's disruption information excites people. Something outlandish, right? Other people can just say stuff and then it gets heat and then people can argue, point. They think someone else has done the research for them. Intermittent fasting.
I don't even understand
weight
what
loss,
he's saying.
Caloric intake,
okay.
structure, vape.
Sure. Structure of what?
Structure is good just for your brain
Oh.
to do stuff not thinking. The shark diving, life-threatening experience.
Well, again, there's another way to get people out of depression. Go throw them in to be eaten by sharks.
But I thought the most valuable thing he said about that story is he got up he was freaked, but he got up the next day and hopped right back in.
With the sharks?
With the shark tank and said he swam up, like completed what he was trying to do before he almost died. So it's the same person. If you do something that scares you, freaks you out, really try to do it. Unless this is actually dangerous to life. But I think this was a life-changing event for him. But in anything where you fail, try to fail again. Like, don't be warded off by something. I thought that was. He said, I knew if I was scared of this and went on with my life, it would fuck with me. So I went back and faced it as soon as possible.
Well, it's like Travis Barker. I always thought about Travis Barker flying again. But then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? The odds that you're in 2 plane crashes in your life are like just 0.
But he's a ditz.
That is, but then you hear about a guy who gets struck by lightning twice. Shit happens, Matt.
They actually say you're more likely to be struck by lightning again once you've been struck.
Well, then why not be in a plane crash again?
Did I say it before or was it interrupted? You're more likely to be killed by a lawnmower than a bear or a shark.
You were interrupted. What was that stop?
You're more likely to be killed by a lawnmower than a bear or a shark. Like both of them.
A lawnmower?
Yeah. Well, you're around a lot more lawnmowers.
That seems crazy. How do people get killed by lawnmowers?
How many lawnmower deaths are there a year?
More than bear and shark.
Like, I know
combined.
you're probably more likely to lose a finger to your lawnmower than to a bear or a shark.
There's probably also more lawnmowers in the
agree
States
with
than
that.
bears and sharks. Well, there are no sharks
But how
in
are
the US.
people dying by lawnmower?
Just running over themselves.
Who's what?
It happens.
I know, but even if you ran over yourself with a lawnmower,
You sit there and bleed out, crying.
I'll
'Cause you're
come
so
up with the
stupid.
supporting
I think you're more
facts
likely to
for
like
this.
break your leg.
Well, you're just around a lot more lawnmowers.
I don't know if I agree with that stuff.
I'll save it for the post show, and I'll admit if I'm wrong. But yeah, be physically active. Healthy body is for a better brain. That sums up everything he says. It was.
You know, this guy was on the 9 Club, the skateboarding podcast.
Huberman?
He's a
Yeah.
total skater.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Mark Norman was also on it.
Mark Norman.
Mark
also
Norman
was a
skates.
skater.
Mark Norman, the comedian,
Was on the 9 Club.
like as a permanent part of the 9 Club?
No, he was on as a guest. They have guests.
You're just saying as a guest.
Yes, Andrew Huberman was
Okay,
a guest on the
okay.
9 Club, as was Mark Norman.
I thought you meant like Huberman was part of the 9
No,
Club.
no,
and
no. I just
Norman
meant
was part
no,
of,
no.
They
no.
were guests on
Yeah,
the
they were
9
guests
Club.
on the 9 Club. Still
Gotcha.
pretty interesting, no?
Well, it's interesting, but I'm not as shocked as I
Okay,
was.
sorry.
2
I wasn't trying to
seconds ago.
shock you. I think I was just trying to say it's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, Mark Norman on that show, I can't imagine at all. Can Mark Norman ever turn it off?
No.
He is always on the same way we see him. That's how he is in real life. He is just constantly.
Well, you saw him on the
going.
bus.
Well, that was a podcast. Well, that was a toned down version of him, so it's definitely toned down.
Well, the fact that he can't dirty talk with his girl makes me think he's a different way sometimes. He's not always on.
Well, okay. I mean, that's a weird comparison, but like what you do in the privacy of your own bedroom.
You were asking if he's always on, and I'm saying he's not always on.
No,
but
I
he's
know,
mostly
but I
always
don't
on.
think like he's on while he's having sex. Like he's still doing his routine. While
Hey,
he's
look at those
banging
tits
his
bang
wife.
around.
Comedy, hey,
It'd be
oh.
hilarious if he sleeps, talks, and does puns.
And just saying comedy.
Comedy.
Your asshole just winked at me. Comedy.
Rate it.
Ew.
I'll give it a 3.
No, I give this a 1.5.
Nice.
I don't think it was that bad.
I give it a 2.5.
All right.
It isn't that bad.